So you cannot be negligent as a parent because your child has issues. You are not the only one. You will be ready because it's either you have the power of choice. Mm-hmm. You will be ready. You'll be ready. It's either do you want to sink or you want to swim.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Marvellous-U podcast. If you are new here, my name is Grace, and this series is about honest conversations around raising children with special needs. I started this series on special needs parenting by sharing my story, and you can find, previous episodes on special needs parenting on the YouTube playlist. Today, we are going to talk about something that so many parents struggle with, and that is how to recognize developmental delays early. In my personal journey, because my son had his diagnosis in utero, there was no case of recognizing any early developmental delays. But joining me today is an incredible parent and advocate, Grace Alexander, the CEO of Star Children Initiative. She has walked this path firsthand, and she'll be sharing her story, the early days, the signs she noticed, and what they wish they knew earlier. So let's get right into this important conversation. So thank you so much for being here today. For those meeting you for the first time, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your child?
Yes. My name is Grace Alexander. I'm a compassionate disability advocate. Yeah. I'm also a trauma-informed care specialist.
Exactly.
I'm also I also have an organization called Star Children Development Initiative, where we focus on youths, on children, on youths, on women with disability, and on anything that has to do with challenges they go through. Yeah. We try as much as possible to support them. And we are into advocacy as well. We engage with stakeholders that are involved. So it's also about promoting inclusion. Exactly. Making sure that every person with disability are not left behind. Yeah. And we also cater for we also support parents of children with disability. Yes, that's what we do. Yeah, and we do also training on leadership. Yeah. We do that as well because everybody, it's about awareness, about creating awareness and promoting equal opportunities for persons with disability. And don't forget, when you are a parent of a child with disability, you are also effectively disabled because a lot of financial, personal, marital dynamics are also in disarray. So we support parents with all that as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, because if somebody has not met you for the first time, I wanted them to have a view of,
I'm also a qualified social worker.
Exactly. Well. So you've heard it from our guest today. She's an advocate, she's doing a lot, she's the CEO, like I said before, of the Star Children Initiative. And she's doing a lot out there in the community, even though she's walking this journey of raising a child with special needs. But there's a lot she does in the community to support other parents that also have children with disabilities. So welcome again and thank you. So let's go back to the early days. Before any concern arose, how would you describe your child's early development?
One of my children, that's my last son, has a disability called diagnosed as global developmental delay, caused by epilepsy. He was fine until when he was 7, when he started having uncontrollable fits. He was having between 21 to 30 a day, and that was difficult. You can imagine as a parent, when suddenly, it was quite sudden. It wasn't something that, you don't buy. There's some issues in life that you don't bargain for.
At all.
And for me, I was in a state of shock for a long time. and so many things. As human beings, we like to plan, we like adaptability, we like to plan, we like to be able to organize ourselves. But when my son started having fit, all those control over so many things as a parent went into disarray. I was panicking. I had a lot of mental health issues with regards to my parenting and caring for my son, and that affected me as a person. When things turn out differently, like what you've never imagined, what you've never experienced, and you start panicking, you start having anxiety. It was terrible. I will say that it affected my faith in God. It was normal, was meeting the normal developmental milestones. But when she had started having this epilepsy at 7, so there's a lot of things changed in his development, like talking, like mobility, a lot of things. And he's not able to do things like other children of his age are able to do. So a lot of things change cognitively, because that affects his cognition and motor skills as well. That affected his motor skills because, brain, if anything is wrong with the brain, epilepsy is neurological. So if anything is wrong with the brain, it affects a lot of developmental stages in a child's life.
And I hear you say that, he started having epilepsy at 7. So at what point did you feel something might be different? Because he was relatively fine before that. What changed? What can you say?
What changed was that because he was having serious fits.
So did you notice anything that led to that?
First of all, the talking stopped. The speech affected the speech severely. And
but before then he was fine.
He was fine. Yes, he was fine before then. So a lot of things changed.
So the epilepsy just came on suddenly.
Suddenly, we were shocked. So that affected my response too, because I was in a state of shock. What happened? And then when you are in a state of shock, that means your nervous system is
shut down.
Your nervous system is activated. And when it's activated, your responses are it's like they are not aligned. Your body, your soul, your mind, they're not aligned. And that will affect your thoughts. So definitely your thought patterns will change. And the next thing will be asking, why? Why? Because
this child was okay, everything was fine.
Exactly.
7 years old now, and suddenly,
But thank God he's 31 now, and we are seeing a lot of improvement.
We're really pleased about that. Happy birthday to him again, because yesterday was also his birthday. It's such a huge milestone. Now let's dive in. I know you have already started mentioning some of these things, and I know how heartbreaking it must have been for a child that everything was fine, he's 7, and suddenly this fit started. I know you started mentioning also that the first thing that went was the speech. So could you tell me more about all of the other things that were affected?
Everything just stopped. Like talking, like eating on his own, everything just stopped. Those milestones that you see that a child is improving, and his cognition was really affected. Where he can't think, where sometimes there was a time he did not even understand his name. It was that bad. So,
and prior to this, he was already attending school, right?
Yes. And
so he had to stop all of that. He has to.
But it took a long while, because my own state of mind was also affected severely. As a mother, when you have never experienced that kind of a thing in your children, and this suddenly happened like a ton of bricks.
And you say he's your last child, so you have other children, right? So did you find yourself comparing your child to other children? Did that
It was
help
not
or add to the
immediately.
confusion?
Yes, it was immediately. It was not about comparing. You can't start comparing immediately. What happened was with me was my mind was everywhere. I was confused. Confused. Yeah. I was helpless, really feeling helpless, and hopeless. That's what I'll say. So my mind was on why for a long time. Why?
For some parents, they, for when they receive a diagnosis for their children, sometimes they already have like a gut feeling.
But what happened was that I was actually, when I was asking why, my thoughts that time they were more of what could have gone wrong.
Yeah.
What could have gone wrong? So I was like thinking about what could have gone wrong. And there wasn't any diagnosis before. Even when I had him in London, in Martin Hospital, there wasn't anything. And that day that it happened, I was just sitting down. We were happy. He was happy. He was playing. He was dancing because he loves dancing. And he was dancing. And it was in the morning when I was getting ready to go to work. And that was how the thing started. Started screaming, like crying from sleep.
Yeah.
Yes. And for me, that was, and we had to call the ambulance. I couldn't even call the ambulance. I ran out naked because it was as if he was going.
Yeah.
And he was jacking terribly. I was lost. So I ran out naked. Someone just covered me with, somebody just covered me with a lot of things. Covered my body while I was running. I was panicking. It was terrible. And we had to call the ambulance. Somebody called the ambulance. I couldn't. Because I'm still in a state of shock. Somebody called the ambulance.
And this was the first epileptic fit that he had.
Yes. Epilepsy is something that is neurological and it can kill.
Yeah.
It was something that is really terrible. And it was not an experience I wish on my my enemy. It was such an experience that sometimes I don't want to relive it again.
Yeah, I know it's difficult. But difficult. Let's be, I just want to really understand, because a lot of people do have epileptic fits, and after they have epileptic fit, they return back to normal. So I guess what I'm really trying to pinpoint here is that when did you realize that?
No, that's the first time. There's nothing I realized. It just happened.
He had that. Everything was just affected from that first fit.
Yes, exactly, because he was having 24 to 30 fits a day.
Oh, so there was
epileptic fits a day. So
there was no gradual deterioration.
No.
Yeah, because that's what I'm really trying to process and understand.
We were admitted in the hospital and Whitechapel, and we were taken to Homerton. Then later they transferred to Whitechapel, and for a long time Whitechapel was our home.
Oh my God, that must be really, really terrifying.
And some of with epileptic drugs, medication, they are more like trial and error.
Yeah.
Because you have to try this. If it works, if it doesn't work, they give another one. So, and that can really piss you off.
That must be very traumatic, because that's what I was trying to pinpoint, because I know that some children will have epilepsy, they will recover and they will be fine.
Yeah, there are different types.
Yeah.
Different types. There are some, we see some people who are working, who do that. It depends, the brain is divided into 6 and it depends on the part of the brain. But unfortunately, my son's epileptic fit at that time was very complex.
Yes.
And when the more complex the fit,
the more damage
it does to a lot of the milestones of development of any child.
Yeah, I understand you now, because I was really trying to process.
And one of the area it affected, the cognition.
Yes.
Yes, and the speech.
Oh,
so there was one time, like I mentioned, there was one time he couldn't even understand his name. He was just looking. And some of those medications, some of them can add to it, and some of them can reduce they fit.
Not
So
the side effects.
epilepsy medications are more of trials and errors.
Yeah.
So it depends on the part of the brain. It depends on the one that work with the child. But what I would suggest to any parent is that they should seek not just GP, but a consultant. They should
So
take
that is the next stage of the question I'm going to ask, because like in your situation, everything happened suddenly, so you found yourself in the hospital straight away. But for some others, they won't even know where to go for help. So finding help is another challenge. One thing is knowing that there's a problem,
because you are still in that state of helplessness,
yes,
and hopelessness, where you will be thinking, why me? Why me? We go for a long time. What am I done wrong? And sometimes, in our culture, they think it's not. They think it's like a myth, like a taboo.
Yes, the myth around all of that.
So a lot of awareness. A lot of awareness has to go, because it's something that is neurological. It's something that can be controlled. You understand? And how you support your child really matters. But before you start even thinking about the child, your mind is already a down spiral. I've gone down spiral.
Yeah.
But you start thinking, why is this? Especially when you don't have that history in your family.
Exactly.
Understand? So you start thinking, is it genetic? So fear will come in for a long time. Yeah.
Oh. So I know that you said you went into the hospital for some time. So how would you say the professionals helped? Do you think that they were supportive of you and your son's journey, or they were dismissive? What would you say about that?
One of the things I will say is that I just pray that whoever is going to see your child will be able to listen to you. That's very key. Usually, as a Christian, I usually pray, because you can see some doctors, they don't even listen to understand. And one of the things is that you have to be able to articulate what you're going to tell the doctor.
Exactly.
Because each time I tell the doctors, I'm the experts.
Exactly.
You are because you are the one staying with that child 24/7. And one thing is that the onus is on them to listen, so that you can work together in the best interest of that child. So, and most of them, some of them don't listen. Some of them will say they are in a hurry to see the next patient. So one of the things is that the parent has to, even in that state of helplessness and hopelessness, you have to be able to articulate what you are going to tell the doctor. Because it's based on what you're going to tell the doctor will make the diagnosis, and the doctor will make some what medication the child is going to.
Yeah, and this is so important. And
that is very.
In one of my series, I did a series where it's a recent one that I did, how to advocate for your child, and this point was key, because it's so important that you can articulate exactly what
you have to. But in that state, it takes the grace of God to articulate. But don't worry, for me, what actually happened to me was more of fear and shame. Coming from Nigeria, in Africa, when you have epilepsy, it's a taboo.
Yeah,
it's a myth. Maybe the child is cursed.
Yes.
Even in Christianity, they think it is a
spiritual, demonic attack.
Or a spiritual attack. So you are dealing with all that in your brain, and you don't know where you are going to find yourself. And that is very, very important. So you have to be able to articulate what you are going to tell the doctor, what happened. So you cannot be negligent as a parent because your child has issues. You are not the only one. Because your child has issues and you are still in that state of shock. Even your state of shock, what you saw, so that the doctor can be able to diagnose. Two of you have to work together. So, but taking yourself as being the expert, because you are the parent, you are the one staying with that child 24/7. You are the one that actually saw what happened that time, that experience. You are the one that is the carer. So it is not about being too spiritual or being negligent. But neglect is also a form of abuse.
It is.
But sometimes we do it out of like out of the fact that your state of mind
Yes.
is not really regulated. You are emotionally down because of what you are seeing, witnessing concerning your child. But however, you are part of the support network
of the child.
and that is very important for parents to have control of their manage their emotion at that point in time, so that they can articulate.
Yeah, that leads me to the next, process in this journey, because in raising a child with special needs, going through those early days,
early days can be very serious.
Yeah, going through the process of seeking help, trying to get the doctors that will listen, all of the tests, all of the assessment. The journey can be emotionally overwhelming.
Draining.
So how did you cope during that period of uncertainty? How did you deal with those emotions? Because you started talking about that. How did you cope?
Yeah, what happened was that one of the things you have a child when you are pregnant. You are imagining the kind of child you want to have. You don't want to have a child that will give you problems.
Exactly.
You don't want a child that you'll be imagining that you want this child to be a doctor. You want this child to be an engineer. Exactly. And you imagine a lot of things, positive things, which is a natural human
human emotions, human experience.
Concerning your child. No parent will now start saying, oh, I want this child to be like this. And suddenly, you are not having the child you imagined. You are having another child that you do not even have the script of how do you manage this.
Exactly.
That's my story. And one of the things, over time, is a process. Over time, the first stage of any loss does not mean you've lost the child. Maybe the child is dead. You start mourning for that child that you imagine.
Exactly.
And then you start grieving for the child you have. That, why am I having this? Why is this happening to me? And that's what your faith will be in crisis too. Because you will say you've prayed, you fasted, you understand. But everything is to God's glory. And as the word of God says, everything is to God's glory.
This aspect you mentioned, is something I also wrote in my book about mourning the perceived loss of your baby. Because it's so true. You are pregnant, there is a child you expected to have. And then when things happen, it looks like you lost the child. So and sometimes it's a season of grief, and it's that grieving process. You cannot run away from it, because it's like you lost this perceived child, the child you expected. You have suddenly, even though the child is still there, but you have lost that child that you expected.
And it's okay to mourn
the loss. Yes,
because that's the way how you can. And then one of the things is that over time you start actually accepting the reality. But I want to talk more about, because accepting the reality does not mean you are content, you are happy with what is happening, or you are not going to support the child. You've just accepted that as it is. But accepting your reality, it's different from just accepting your reality. I, for instance, as a Christian, I accepted my reality with hope and faith.
Exactly.
And that goes a long way.
It is.
So God has given us the power. How do you see your reality? Your reality does not mean you have to be in denial. But for me, the pain, I go to God, because it took me,
because you mentioned the guilt, the confusion, the fear, midst of everything that comes.
Thinking, why did it happen? You start thinking, you start relapsing. Sometimes you relapse into a bad situation, bad emotion.
Bad mood.
That why is this happening to me? That's what have I done? Thank God. How many people knows that? How many people knew in Nigeria that I was pregnant? Nobody, because it was back home. They would say, oh, it was one auntie that came, that maybe he touched your tummy.
All of the superstition.
You start making assumptions and creating enmity, which is not necessary. Exactly. You understand? So, and it will start unleashing itself in a way that, it took me 7 years to actually accept it fully for my son. It took me 7 years of going through the grief process. For instance, I was in a state of shock. I was in a state of denial, like, no, I reject this in Jesus' name.
I know.
This is not happening to me. But I prayed. You understand?
Yeah.
But the reality was that because some parents can stay in denial stage for a long time.
Yeah.
And then they will not be able to move to the acceptance stage. But
it prevents them from engaging with the child and supporting the child.
Some people can isolate themselves in that stage of denial because it's so traumatic that you start to isolate yourself, and then some people, they will be emotionally muted, or sometimes they will be withdrawn.
Yes.
And sometimes it's because it affects relationship. It affects your daily dynamics, how you cope with daily things of your life. And it affects you personally as a mother. Seeing your child going through pain, seeing your child, and then you don't even have a sense of who you are anymore. And that happened to me. And most of the time you start crying. Sometimes some people will it will come in form of anger. They're just angry. They're just snappy, So, and for me, I told you, fear. I was afraid, especially when I learned that it can kill. That's spiral mind.
Terrifying part.
That's terrifying. No, I don't want my child to die. I told God, whatever happens, I don't want him to die. And
so let me ask you, who or what helped you to get through that? Emotional overwhelm. What helped you to feel understood?
You will be ready, because it's either you have the power of choice. You will be ready. You'll be ready. It's either do you want to sink or you want to swim through the storm.
So you had to make a choice by yourself.
There's a stage where you say, you know what, I can't handle these emotions anymore. I need to let go.
So what do you think helped you to come to that place?
I was just tired. I was just tired that, you can't be crying all the time.
Drowning yourself in sorrow.
You can't be, your state of mind cannot be, your emotion cannot be, you don't have control over your emotion, you understand? And this cannot be going on. So I made that choice at that time that, you know what? What next? So until you are ready.
That's it, yeah.
It's a personal thing. It's a personal choice. Until you are ready. So nobody can tell you, it is well, my sister. It is not well.
It's no. And that's what I wanted to say, that for any parent that is listening,
exactly,
your mourning, your crying, everything is valid. Every emotion you need to feel to get through. Yes. It's all okay, because
it's part of human experience.
So for some people it could be a month, it could be, but all of these emotions that we feel, they are what makes us human, and they are human experience.
Yes.
And so nobody can judge you for crying.
Exactly. So, and one thing you have to do is that in that state, you have to be careful too, in the sense that you have to connect with your tribe. What I mean by thrive is that find someone who has gone through that stage and talk to them.
And that's what I was asking, who helped you? Because for me, I found support. I was signposted to join a support group, and that helped to change my perspective. Instead of staying in that place of grief and thinking that I was the only one. So when I joined the support group and I saw other parents with, even I thought I had the worst case of special need, but what I saw kept me mute. I had to keep quiet. What helped me to shift my perspective and not feel sorry for myself?
You know what shifted my own perspective? You know what shifted my own perspective? Well, I saw it in the Bible. I was going, sometimes some groups can empower you and disempower you.
Yeah.
I joined a group, and this group, I think I'm the only one who is from black minority.
Okay.
I found the group very disempowering in the sense that some of them were saying, I did not sleep this night. I did not sleep. I was in the hospital for 5 days. In fact, I had to call the ambulance. That was doing my head in. I did not like it. I did not like the idea that.
So you didn't find the group supportive?
I find it disempowering.
Yeah, so finding the right support.
Yes, and the Bible that says, Genesis 1:27, that says you are created in God's image. That changed my perspective. Because I realized that I cried tears of joy. That so my son is God's creation. It's not the devil. It's not like he was cursed. You understand?
Yeah.
So the shift in my brain was from that picture, from that passage, from that verse of the Bible.
You made me remember now that is one key point for me, because I think it was in the book of Ecclesiastic. My son has a condition that affected his bone and his development. So the verse that came to me was that I'm the one that knows how the bones are formed in the womb of her that is with child.
Exactly.
Immediately I saw that verse.
So there's a kind of the chaos.
The peace came in.
The peace, exactly.
The peace came in that he knows he is the one. And I started seeing everything, every scripture that has to do with bones and how he will not allow his bones to be broken. And all of those words, just gave me peace on the inside. So if you are still struggling in that space where you are still, afraid, you're feeling guilty, or you're confused, it will come to you. It could come in the Bible if you.
When you're ready, you have to go through and one thing I want to tell I want to tell parents. One of the other things I want to tell parents: don't hide your pain.
Don't
suppress your pain.
That is
acknowledge your pain and deal with your pain, so that it doesn't come up every time.
All the time.
And it will affect your emotions. It will affect everybody's your relationship. It will affect you personally, because you'll be in that dark hole for a very long time, which is not really necessary.
Thank you for
we
saying
all
that.
go through. We all go through. Everybody. We all go in life. We all go through highs and lows.
Yes.
And just bear in mind that seek help. Speak out. It's okay to speak out. And it's not. And one thing is that you feel isolated, because I felt isolated during my time.
Yes.
When I was ready, I started moving. I started finding people who have children like mine. And because I went to that group where there's so many
parents,
ethnic minority, ethnic group, rather than black, they were taking tea and coffee. Nobody is actually encouraging us. It's like everybody was coming there to tell their sorrows. Okay. And I found that disempowering.
It was not a structured group then.
I found that, so I stopped. Because it's triggering a lot of things. I was looking for somebody who will encourage me, who will listen to me. You understand?
Yeah.
Everybody was telling them, I did not sleep last night. I did not say whatever. My son had 10 feet, 11 feet. And I was finding that discouraging. You understand? Disempowering. So I had to start my own organization.
Yes. So you started something that you needed for yourself.
For myself.
Yes.
So, and I was able to relate with other black ethnic minority from Asia, from other ethnic minority, where we can now come together, encourage ourselves, and that's how I started Star Children Development Initiative.
Yeah, so that's really amazing, because sometimes when we seek something that we cannot find, we have to take the initiative to just start it.
Create one, yes. But you have to be ready.
You have to be ready. You have to be in that place where you have
where you are ready to move on.
Yes, exactly, to do that.
Where you are ready to move on. If you are still because you have to have what I call a kind of internal safety first. Emotional safety.
One of my favorite quotes that I've shared before: you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
If you are still empty and drained, you cannot be reaching out to support.
Exactly.
You have to come from a place of healing.
You are going to come from a place of rest, a kind of safety.
Yeah, exactly.
To be able to listen. So that time when I was going to that place, I wasn't in a state of safety, and the environment is not providing me with the emotional and psychological safety too. It's like everybody is talking about this. So, and that's how I started Star Children Development Initiative. Thank you.
So let me ask you this question. I know we have already mentioned some, but what are the most common myths about
persons with disability?
Persons with that you wish you could debunk.
Yes, that they can learn. Yeah, they can't learn. They are not emotional, but they will be shocked. It's only the way children, we have different types of disabilities.
Yes.
The way they express, even with people that are neurotypical, like you and me, who are neurotypical, the way we learn, they are different. The way we reason, they are different. So everybody are wonderfully
made,
created, and fearfully created. Yeah. So we are all unique in every sense. So and that uniqueness does not exclude persons with disability.
Exactly.
So our emotions, even when you have children your children who do not have any disability, their characters, their personality, they're different. How we respond to issues are different. We are all different. But however, these persons with disabilities, they need additional support. And the onus is on you to create that safety for that child. People still need a lot of awareness. Yes, awareness about the fact that every child is unique.
Yes.
Every child has emotion. It doesn't matter how complex. Do you remember that?
Beings.
Even children with complex needs, they know their needs.
They know.
So if they can know, it means something is still working there. And you treat every child according to their needs. Not thinking that, okay, this one cannot talk. Why can he not talk? You cannot be ignorant of your child's needs. It's your responsibility, because if you are ignorant of your child's needs, that means you are abusing them with the fact that abuse does not only, there are 4 types of abuse: emotional, financial, physical, and neglect.
And neglect is the biggest one for children.
It's the biggest one, because when you neglect them, that means you cannot nurture them.
It's not being you're not being responsible. Yeah.
Yes, if God has entrusted, if that is what God has entrusted you to, has entrusted a child to you, one of the things is to protect them, provide for their needs, to treat them, to actually support them, and that emotional safety. That emotional safety is key. You provide safety for your child, irrespective of how complex his needs are. Because one thing is that he cannot express to you that he's safe, but his relationship with you, because non-verbal cues are very key.
Yes.
Non-verbal cues is not only talking. Talking is just
it's one 5%. Of the just one way of communication.
It's just 5% of communication. So you can now, when you are able to, you can connect with your child's emotion. If you care to understand them and to provide that safety.
It's true. That is very key.
So it's very important. And one of the things is that though they might be different, however, for me, a child is a child. And you are the keeper. You are the custodian of that child. God has entrusted that child
to you.
And all I pray for is strength. All I pray for is to support network, divine support helper that will support me in supporting my son.
And an inclusive environment is,
yes.
I pray for
an inclusive. And we that are inclusion. In abroad, we still have that support. But what about people that are in Nigeria?
There's hardly any support.
Very, very hard. And that's what we do in Nigeria as that children development, so that they know that they are not different from others.
And this is so important because this podcast is called the Marvellous-U podcast. And the name Marvellous also came from, having a diagnosis for a child and going through that process of grieving and acceptance. And one thing that stood out, and which is something you already mentioned, we are all created beautifully and wonderfully. We are all beautifully and wonderfully made. And the word came from marvelous are your works. So most of the things I do, I use the word marvelous because it helps me to keep in focus how God sees us. People might see us as deformed or disabled or whatever, but God has created us and He sees us as marvelous. Every one of us, we are marvelous.
And that's a thing too. I would like to add this. They said, count it all joy. Count it all joy. And for me, I refuse. Over time, I've been concentrating. When initially, I've been concentrating on, for 7 years, I've been concentrating on the Herculean task of parenting. I've been concentrating. And then the more I concentrate on it, the more I'm afraid. The more I'm anxious. The more I start having panic attack. I remember for 2 years, when I hear ambulance, I will start jumping. Oh, maybe it's my son. I will call my son's school.
Panic.
I will say, oh, maybe the ambulance is going to my son's school. I'll be calling home. I used to have au pairs at those days. No? And the day I realized that, you know what? I made that choice. And I said, you know what? And you have it. That's why you can change you can be honest with your pain. You can be honest with hope.
Exactly.
And faith. And that's I'm also an author too.
So you need to mention that.
In my second book, how you can parent your child without fear. And that is based on God's words. And the Bible says we are overcomers. So I believe and I know that there is nothing God cannot do.
That brings me, because it's you're already getting there, and I like a good hopeful ending, and you're already coming into that place of speaking hope. But before we go fully into that, the first question I want to ask is, what strengths have you discovered in your child along the way?
Yes, patience. One of the patience and spiritual reawakening.
That is for you. I'm thinking about your child. What strengths have you discovered in your child?
He's like me. Everybody says he is very opinionated. You can't push him. He's his own man.
Yes.
And he understands a lot about body languages. Yes. He has his own mind. So he's really growing in leaps and bounds. And he knows his boundaries with me, and I know his boundaries with him. So I see, and how can I be able to say that? I see him as a human being.
Exactly.
I'm not focusing on his disability with the regard of attracting within me pity. No. You understand? I deal with him like I would deal with his siblings. And I think not like I'm petty. You understand? He understands my body language. And people, when they see him, and he understands my language too. I speak Yoruba to him. So people, they are always amazed. Why? I said, no, he knows.
And I think that's what the key thing you said. For us to be able to recognize those strengths, we need to see them as human and respect them as the human beings that they are.
And they need respect. And don't compare. Every child is different.
It's unique.
Irrespective of whether they have disability or not. Every child is
different.
Is unique. So, and one of the things is that a parent should find way of connecting
with your child.
When you connect with your child, irrespective of his or her disability, then you'll be able to parent that child.
That's very key. So thank you for sharing that. So my next question is, how has this changed you as a parent? This journey, how has it changed you?
It changed my world in a positive way. Yes, I'm able to see the world in a different light. I'm able to see that children with disability are also human beings. And I'm also able to see that our life is a life of impact, is a life of service. And that service that service is very important as a human being. And it's about impacting your society with your experience. And I'm able to find a purpose in that, in raising my son. Finding that purpose, bringing out that vision in me, and being able to support other parents like my son, like mine, who are also parenting children with disability. And for me, that's key. Our life is life of impact. And how you impact it. So that's why you don't have to wallow up in pity for a long time. And this keeps me, this, all those things I've mentioned actually keep me going. Yes, because I draw strength from supporting other parents.
Yes.
It has a kind of ripple effect on yourself and on that person.
That's so true.
But also gaining.
That's so
it's
true.
Also reminding you, because there are sometimes, sometimes you feel lows too. So encouragement to others will bring you back.
That is so true. And, one of the primary, I think somebody shared that one of the primary purpose of man on earth is to serve. And this journey brings us into that place of service. And like you say, it has a ripple effect. Because when you are in that state of, oh, why me, like you feel like you are the only one going through something. But when you see other people and you are able to support them, it energizes you and really keeps you, going, and which is a real positive. And I can see that with you, you have been able to channel, all of that energy into doing all of the things that you do. You are an author. You have your own initiative. You are supporting other parents. It's because this journey has really transformed you and made you a person of impact. To be able to give back to others also. And I'm really pleased about that. What message of hope would you give to a parent that is watching this, who is feeling scared right now? Probably they are looking at their child, with this diagnosis. What message of hope would you like to give to a parent watching this?
You are not alone. And one of the things is that you face your pain. Be honest about your pain. Don't be in denial. Be honest about your child. Don't think, oh, I reject this. This is not happening to my child. And you are not seeking that help that your child needs. Because when you are in denial, a lot of opportunities are missed.
Yes.
A lot of opportunities are missed. So, and it's about finding other people who will be non-judgmental, who will listen to you to understand and be able to support you where you are really low.
Yeah.
Or somebody who can support you where your child can be with for like 2 hours or so. So people that are genuine,
yes,
and are really authentic, not people that you just stop your child out of the fact that And one of the things is that you have to accept that child. Acceptance is power. You have to cultivate the mindset of acceptance. You cannot, if you don't accept, there's no way you want to let go. And acceptance is not a sign of weakness.
It's not.
It's a sign of strength. And then, so that you can focus on yourself, you can focus on your other children, you can be a role model to your family if your child has other siblings. And then, two, you can move on with your life. Find things you can do to give you money. Find support where it is necessary, and be able to focus on yourself, your self-care.
Yeah.
And when I mean self-care, is about you achieving that internal harmony, that internal balance of safety within you. Because if you are not happy within yourself, if you don't cultivate joy in the midst of those challenges, I am telling you, there's no amount of makeup, there's no amount of dress that is expensive that you wear that will show forth. So that safety is very important, because children can feel. They can feel when you are happy.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter how complex their disability. Sing to them, dance. They can watch. They can see, and you can see that secured attachment with your child. But the onus is on you as a parent. But you cannot give what you don't have. So if you are not alone.
Yeah, no.
You are not alone.
And I'm so happy as as you're sharing this, because this is so vital. Your children, it doesn't matter the spectrum that they are on or what kind of disability they have. They feel you. They sense it when you're happy. And the truth is, from what I've noticed from working with other parents, these children, they really want you to be happy. They don't want to feel that they are a burden to you and they are stopping you from caring for yourself or going out there to achieve the things that you need to achieve. So when you when you really make yourself, you come to that place where you can do things for yourself and you're happy, your children, they are also happy. Because like what Grace, I forgot to mention that we're actually namesake. She's Grace, I'm Grace. You know, what she has said now is so vital. Your children can sense it. They sense it when you are not happy. They sense it when you are sad. Your joy is their joy. The fact that they are disabled, it doesn't make them like they are cut off from every human emotions. No, they feel
and
it.
They're emotional too.
They're emotional. They know it. They want you to be happy.
When you are as a parent, you should be able to, even if your child is non-verbal, you should be able to know when the child is hungry.
Exactly. As babies, you knew when they couldn't even speak. You already knew.
So, yes.
And that instinct is there. Yeah.
Yes. And my son understands a lot of body language. You know, non-verbal cues. He understands. And I've seen a lot of improvements. And I'm focusing on that improvement.
Yes.
For every child, when you create an environment that is safe, and when you are an environment that is inclusive, the child will thrive.
That's true. So true. And that's all they need. That is all the children need.
And make sure if you are struggling, because it is hard,
ask for help. Seek
help. Don't just keep quiet.
Yeah.
Don't just think it is well. I am fine when you are not fine. When you are saying you are fine when you are not fine, you are self-sabotaging yourself.
That's a dangerous place to be in.
Exactly. You are self-sabotaging when you are saying you are fine and you are not really fine. If you are struggling, if you need prayer, if you need to address whatever, get in touch with somebody that you have to be discerning. I'm not saying you should tell everybody. Somebody that will not judge you. Will not judge you. Somebody that will listen to you. Somebody that will not judge you because, you've not prayed enough. You did not fast. You have not gone to, you know, they call us in church for prayer meeting. You didn't that's go. Why you're having this problem. No. God has every plan for everybody.
Yes.
And you focus, as I'm talking to people who are Christians, the word of God can, and that is what in my third book, the last chapter, we all need healing.
Yes.
And then through this experience, one thing is that I've rediscovered myself positively. I remember my son was 30 years last year. I wrote a letter. I said, you are the light, God's treasure that illuminates the world.
Wow.
You are the light. And one thing is that sometimes when we say there is light at the end of the tunnel, you have to be intentional. If you don't walk it, you will not
see it. Exactly.
If you don't walk it, you will not see light. Because at the tunnel, all you will see is, you will not even see anything. But with hope and faith, and courage, you can walk it. And as you are walking it, light will begin to shine.
Yeah.
Light will, what becomes the dim at that time becomes
clearer.
Becomes clearer. But you don't go through problems alone. Success too, you don't go through it alone.
We need support.
And life is about full of uncertainties. But connection is very important to recovery, to your healing, to your functioning again.
Exactly.
And it's okay to cry. And some people see vulnerability as they don't want to show their vulnerability. It's actually not weakness, it's strength.
It's strength.
It's human to be vulnerable.
It's strength, yeah.
It's human to be vulnerable. So there is hope at the end of the tunnel. But you have to be intentional.
Yeah.
You have to be mindful. You have to be able to walk it. You must have that courage. You must create joy in the midst of multiple challenges. Because challenges will come.
Yeah, they always.
How you've dealt with one will affect how you are going to deal with the second one. Yeah. I just pray that we'll be able to manage our challenges in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you, Grace, for sharing so openly. Your story is going to help so many parents out there. But before we go, if anybody wants to connect with you or follow your advocacy work, where can they find you? I want you to really...
Yes, they can send an email to me at Start Children Initiative. Not the organization is
Start Children Initiative, yes.
At gmail.com. They can send a letter to me And I'm on Facebook, Grace Alexander on Facebook.
Okay.
They can DM me there. They can just send me a message to me, just to say, please, can you call us? And I'll call them back and I will discuss with them.
And you are an author. You said this is your third book. Can you give the titles of your books?
Okay, let me show you my books.
Yes.
The first one is Living with the Unexpected, Cultivating Joy in the Midst of Multiple Challenges. Then the second one is Creative Impact for Transformation and Growth. And I thank God for giving me that experience.
These are powerful books.
Yes. You can narrate, you can
change your narrative.
Your brain.
Yes.
It depends on what is in your mind. And that's why I said you have the power to change your narrative positively. So the narrative I had when I had my son, when my son started having this, it's different now.
Exactly.
So I've changed my reality. And
it has changed you completely. You are a different person.
Yes. The intentional parenting is there. Intentional parenting is in that book. Emotional resilience. How you can cultivate emotional resilience as a parent, as a woman, even in your relationship, as a wife.
So where can people find these books?
They can send me, because I don't like. It's on Amazon. This one is on Amazon, but they can.
So yes, you can always contact her. And I know I have the third book, which is We All Need Healing. I have a copy here, so yes. I know we also have that.
There's some grounding techniques. Yeah. In order to achieve when you are your
emotional trauma, when you have gone through,
anxious, when you start having panic attack, or when your emotions are running haywire, in down spiral, and you don't know what to do, you are feeling hopeless, and how you can unleash your creativity. So I see, for me, my whole creativity is cooking. So when I'm overwhelmed, when I start cooking, it makes me feel. It's not like it comforting, I don't comfort you. But
just
I cook healthily, I occupy my emotions. So it's a kind of emotional release for me.
So yes, she Grace is an author, and like she said, you can find her on Facebook, and these titles are just amazing. They are really, really powerful titles, and I will encourage you to reach out and get a copy of these books. I want to thank you, Ma, for coming on this podcast and really sharing openly. And to everyone that is watching, thank you for watching. If this episode resonated with you, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with a parent who might need it. You never know who will need this. And remember, you are not alone on this journey.
Yes.
You are marvelous. See you in the next episode.